Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this series is called Spiritual Dilemmas, and it's about how we be in this human experience and what shows up in terms of the dilemmas that we are in quite often, almost every single day. So, for instance, I heard recently that when we're in pandemics, when we're in crisis, when things happen to us that take us out of our comfort zone, that's when we're most likely to do personal development work. Now, what's personal development work? That's a good question. It might be it might be becoming more courageous with ourselves. It might be becoming more faith-based in the sense that you are beginning to open up to possibilities that, for instance, you never were before. In certain circumstances, like the uncertainty of this pandemic time that we're in right now, there's a lot of loss, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of things that are happening in someone's life, in everyone's life, that they don't understand or they don't know how to cope with or they feel powerless about. And quite often this happens with people who are given diagnosis of a disease, for instance, a cancer, or they've lost a loved one that was not, they weren't expecting it. Quite often there's so many, things that are happening in our lives that we have no control over. And what we tend to do initially in a sense of crisis is just to shrink and get contracted and come into this place of total powerlessness and hopelessness. And over time, though, we have the capacity to grow ourselves, to think differently, to look at things differently, to open to possibilities that were initially not available to us. So, in this research article that I saw that said most of us have the capacity and are actually developing ourselves in ways that we never thought before, that's a really positive thing. Now, it takes courage to see ourselves differently. It takes courage to see things differently. But when that happens, to even be courageous to think differently or to assume life differently or say, I want to see this differently, it takes some courage. I want to give you a funny example that happened a long time ago. I was in Southern California on Malibu Beach, and there's signs all over the place that says, be careful, because it's a very dangerous undertow. So I was in my 30s, and I was going out, and I went to go into the water, and this undertow took me. Whoa! And it turned me upside down, and I felt like I was in this tumultuousness. I felt powerless. I felt hopeless. I felt like I was going to be dragged out to sea. And I heard myself say, what do I do? What do I do? And in the midst of that calamity and the crisis and the tumultuousness, I heard this voice that said, stand up. And I went, what? What do you mean stand up? And this voice said, stand up. And I put my feet down. I don't even know how I knew where to put my feet. I just put my feet down, and there was the ground. And it turned out that the water was like right here. So here I felt like I was in 20 fathoms of water. I would never get to the top. And when I stood up, I was right here. In the moment of that tumultuousness, I heard and I listened for what should I do? A voice came. And this is what happens quite often. And this is what's possible for us when we open ourselves up to personal development, where we open ourselves up to something different, especially when it's very, very challenging on our system. Very challenging to go from victim mode and contracted and powerless and helpless to maybe I can see this differently. Maybe there's some way for me to have a better situation than what I have or have had. And maybe this cancer, or maybe this death, or maybe this accident, maybe this situation is actually a condition from which I can grow as opposed to contract and, in a sense, shrink away into nothingness. So that's what I'm offering you today is to notice the ways that you have to grow yourself, to change yourself, to choose to see it differently. Even that question is, am I willing to see this differently? Am I willing to see this pandemic, or am I willing to see this cancer or this disease? Am I willing to see this relationship with my partner that isn't going well? Am I willing to see that differently? And being willing to say yes to that is an opening to personal development on all levels. So see what you think about that. and let me know. If you're open to it, let me know. Leave comments inside in the comment section of what works for you, or what you're willing to see differently, or what you're willing to not see differently. It's really important for me, that you question what I'm saying for yourself, because this isn't about me knowing what's best for you. This is about me giving you a perspective so that you can question for yourself what's true for you and what works for you. That's what I want. All right. Also, if you'd like, please subscribe and like this video. That would be great. That would be a gift to me if you would do that. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.